Welcome back everybody. Today I'm gonna take a little break from the golf to work on another long overdue project. My brother recently installed a nice patio in his backyard, and it is a quite nice place, but it lacks one thing, one very important thing, which of course is a place to make fire. Fire! 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 His friends to sit around, you know, roast stuff, or just simply to heat up, drink beer, hang out in his backyard. So my sister and I decided to give him that for his birthday. And the thing is, my brother knows that he's gonna get this for his birthday because we promised this about a year ago. So like I said, long overdue. I'm gonna start working on it today. Expansion tank. It's part of a common heating system. You can find them everywhere, and as you can see, it already has a really nice fireplace looking shape. So this is what I'm going to use to turn into a fireplace for my brother's backyard. Before I could start any hacking of the tank though, I first had to create a door and frame. And for that, I started out with a template on cardboard using various measuring devices and whatever I could find in the garage. I created this frame out of 10 by 5 mil steel bar. The first thing to do was to bend the arch, and I did that by first notching the steel and then bending it. And then the rest of the shape consisted of pretty much straight pieces. I found this awesome attachment for the angle grinder that allowed me to grind the welds flat, but it only works if you attach it well enough to your grinder. Always secure your angle grinder bits, kids. I used the outer part of the frame as a reference for the door, and I pretty much made the door the same way as I did the outer frame. And then I actually made a third part that would act as the sill for the door to fall into. I then temporarily welded the door and the frame to each other so I could simultaneously bend them to the curve of the expansion tank. And in order to do that, I created a bending tool that I could put into the vise out of some scraps that I had laying around. After a couple of passes in the vise, I had the frame and door shaped to where they would fit the tank. And then I only had to attach the hinges and cut the temporary welds, and the door was done for now. And now finally onto the hacking. I used the door as a reference for where to cut, and then I drilled the holes that I could later use for plug welding. Cutting the tank revealed an inner bladder out of some thick rubbery material that proved quite difficult to get rid of. But with a lot of brute force, I was able to finally get it out and weld in the door frame. And what I'm doing here is I quickly made a temporary door latch out of some scrap metal that I had laying around. Even though this fireplace won't be a mobile one, I still wanted to include a couple of handles for aesthetic purposes. And these will be the frames for them. With the handle frames now in place, I turn to making the feet that the fireplace is going to rest on. And those basically consisted out of a bended piece of flat steel and a plate to screw to the bottom of the tank. And then I turn to the chimney. For that I used a Sharpie taped to a block of wood to trace the shape of the tank onto the steel tube. This tube was massive, we're talking like 5mm thick steel here, and it basically ate the blade of my angle grinder. So this chimney consists out of 3 pieces that are gonna be stacked on top of each other. And what you see me do here is creating the inner flanges that allow for that stacking. Then, by putting a bolt through and welding a nut on the other side, I created a tight connection that would still allow for disassembly later. With the chimney base firmly attached to the tank, I took off the paint and got started with the rack that would position and support the firewood. Here I'm actually cutting the rack because I needed 2 separate pieces in order to clear the door. Like so. And now onto the details. First, I made the handles out of wood that I burned and oiled in order to make them weatherproof. I guess this shot is kind of suggestive. Oh well. My dad used to say that he who keeps stuff owns stuff, or at least some Dutch version of it. And to be honest, I couldn't agree more. So here I used the piece that I cut out to make room for the door to make a little cap. And this piece of wood I turned into a doorknob using the same procedure as the handles. And there you go, a fireplace out of an expansion tank to keep my brother and his friends warm for many parties to come. Happy belated birthday, dude. And that's a wrap on this project. I had a lot of fun building it and I hope you had a lot of fun watching it as well. And who knows, maybe I'll put up more videos of my side projects. Only time will tell. But when it happens, you will see it here on Dabbled.